My name's Sarah and I'm a Champa House graduate. I came from a two-parent loving home, but I was always missing something. I acted out a lot in high school, and ultimately I went to foster care when I was 16. And then I got out of foster care, I went back home with my parents, and I met my oldest son's dad. We used together, and we ended up moving to Missouri together. Wasn't talking to my family. They had no idea where I was or if I was even alive. In Missouri is when I found out that I was pregnant. And so I called my parents and I moved back home to Greeley. During that time, I was sober, I went to school full time, I did really well providing for my family. I started going out a lot more, going out to the bars. At first it was on the weekends, and then it just progressed. I started using coke. Shortly after that, I met my boyfriend, and we were together for about 3 years. Men were an idol in my life. I was home with my 3-year-old, and he was sleeping, and I was highly intoxicated. I'd been drinking, I was using multiple drugs. I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me. There was no way that that was gonna happen to me, so I left, drove. Went out to his house to confront him, ended up getting in a huge fight, getting beat up. In my drive home, ended up driving into a guardrail. In the hospital, I get confronted by the Department of Human Services, which I worked for. My parents took my son at that time. Everything fell over to me. I went back to using meth. That was my drug of choice. It just progressed. It just got worse and worse and worse. My life was falling apart. Everything I said I would never be or do, I became. Stole, I manipulated, I used people. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I ended up getting 3 DUIs and drug possession charges. I didn't know what to do anymore. My family had provided all that they could for me. Ended up getting pregnant. At first thought I was gonna give my baby up for adoption, and I didn't know I was gonna keep him until 3 weeks before I had him. I just hurt everyone around me and everyone that cared about me. Nobody wanted to help me. I decided to come to Champa. Here is where I've come to know who I am. I not only came to Champa and found out who I was, I came to Champa and I found out who God was and who He really is. I mean, I always had this picture of God, but my picture was so distorted from how I see God now. I see the Lord in everything that I do now. I see Him in everything that I have. That is better than anything I had before. My identity is in the Lord. It's in Him. I just want to provide for my family. I want to be with my children. I want them to know the Lord. And I want them to know the Lord how I know the Lord. That's, I think, the most important thing when I leave here is I want to live a life that they can see the Lord in.